Talk-10. Erase the ego. If one tries to conceive of reality, it cannot be done, as reality is by nature beyond any concept or imagination. There is no imagination in Para-Brahman. Atman, the self, is beyond concept, and hence the self is where imagination fails. As the self cannot be found by thoughts, one cannot think about it. The self is not visible and not felt. It has no form and no color. Then how to know that which has no quality? If you cultivate a habit, you acquire it. If you form a habit of thinking, such as the self knows all, but none knows the self, then you attain truth. One remains ignorant without thoughtfulness. Seek the company of the holy. Live in this world of 5 elements with awareness. The 5 elements of space, air, fire, water, and earth are dictating to you. You must slowly separate that elemental world from yourself with knowledge. This means that the world should be left aside. When I am not the body, then how can this elemental world be mine? You can have either God or the world. Before the Mahabharata war, Lord Krishna said to the Kauravas, "I am on one side, my army will be on the other. Take whichever you want." The Kauravas took the army, which means that they took the world, and the Pandavas took God on their side. And Lord Krishna said, "I am without quality and without shape, and I shall hold no weapon in my hand." The elemental world must be set aside with the help of knowledge. The ego or aham should be allowed to ebb away, yet it does not subside. Those people to whom no good comes, despite listening continuously to the yoni, are considered as fallen. If one has understood that the body is of a low caste, yet continues on only with body consciousness, know that he is but a dead body, a corpse. Consider them as fallen if they have heard words of wisdom yet feel no devotion. Ego must ebb away, yet it does not vanish. This condition is called the state of the jiva. The notions of I and mine are the reasons that one has become a jiva. These concepts must be removed. Absolute reality is what is. The feeling of I must vanish, yet it does not leave. This aham, or I, is in the form of a feeling of ignorance. The scriptures have enunciated many methods for effacing the ego. The aham is the most crooked of letters in Sanskrit. One who has seen the death of his own ego is very fortunate. As Saint Tukaram said, "I saw my death with my own eyes. The ritual was indeed without a parallel." The effort of the jiva is directed towards increasing the ego. It feels, I am an aspirant, or I am a realized person, and I am like this, and I am like that. You nourish the one who must be killed by your efforts. But if you erase the ego, you are reality. I am narrating to you how one nourishes the ego. All the visible manifest world is perishable and is not true. As it is perishable, it is seen. If it were not perishable, there would not have been a seer. Because there is the seer, there is the seen. Whatever is done in this world is the deed of the mind and the intellect. Whatever you see or say, you do so because mind and intellect exist. Therefore, as long as you are there, the ego is susceptible to praise and abuse. Whatever action is done by the senses. Whatever is done by the senses is done by the ego. You must surrender completely to the Sadguru, saying, my brain is not working at all. The more you make use of your intellect, the more it grows. If you act depending upon the Guru's intellect, your involvement with this world will cease. Then alone are you destroyed. Only then does one understand his own death. As Lord Krishna says, take refuge in me, renouncing all of your duties and responsibilities. Only in this way will your ego leave you. We are all para Brahman if you take refuge in the Sadguru. For this, you have to leave your old ways. The one who wants to realize has to break this ego. If you are saying, I am Brahman, then note that you are calling that I as Brahman. So it cannot be understood through meditation, incantation, or penance. It is only attainable through the company of the realized, with devotion to the self, the singing of God's praises through bhajan and kirtan, and by understanding the knowledge imparted by the Master. This conviction that I am Brahman is important. Yet Saint Tukaram's devotion made him understand that the Supreme Self exists without attributes as well as with attributes. And so he said, chant the name of God with fervor. This body container cannot be relied upon, and death comes in the blink of an eye.